Hey guys, come on in. Today, we're breaking down another insane session of 2-2 No Limit Texas Hold'em at none other than Jacksonville's very own Best Bet. We're back on the live stream. We're back for the deep stacks. We're back for the action. And most importantly, we're back for the fun. So you sit back, you relax, and enjoy as my bankroll gets absolutely obliterated. First hand of the night for me. This is about the fourth hand on the stream. I look down at pocket aces in middle position. Folds around to me. I make it $15. We get one caller to my left, and the button, who button straddled, he calls as well. We go four ways to a flop. It's 10-9-4, two diamonds. Obviously, wish I had the ace of diamonds here. One of my opponents have a profile on him already. I know for sure he's always on draws. When I bet 45, he raises, and I go all in for my 250. The run out, 10 of hearts, jack of diamonds. He hits his flush, and we reload. On the flop, there's $62 in the pot. I bet the flop for $45. If I pot here to $60, $65, there's a possibility that I don't get raised, assuming that the button calls my $65. We get to the turn, we go all in. Maybe my opponent doesn't call my all in, and we just take it down on the turn. Food for thought. I'm in late position, and I hate ace-6 offsuit. It's like my least favorite hand of all time. It limps around. It's me and one other fella. Here, I think, was just a mistake by me. I hate limp pots. I hate them. I hate limp pots. So I think that was my mistake, just being that I limped into this pot. So mistake number one. The flop comes queen, ace, jack. I've never played with this fella. Image-wise, so far, he's been just being hit with the deck. I think he's an OMC. That being said, he's also been shown to be very sticky, meaning he'll stick around, and it's very annoying. I don't know how to really combat a sticky player, so if you have any insights there, I'm very open to them. When the ace comes on the flop, I go ahead and bet out of position just to see, if he calls me, okay, he's got an ace, right? Which he does have. The turn is 8 of hearts, so not something that I'm too concerned with at this point. I go ahead and bet again $25, at which point he raises me to, I believe, $55. So I think, okay, top of range here. He's probably ace king, ace queen. I call that off, and another queen comes. At this point, I'm thinking, oh, he just made his boat. Here is where I want to stop and think about it a little bit. Any queen gets there. Do I see Ron calling with a queen on the flop? Yes. Do I see Ron calling with a queen on the turn? Potentially, right? He could have king, queen. He could have queen 10. So really, I'm thinking he's got an ace with a queen. He's got a queen with a king. He's got a queen with a 10. So I check over to him on this queen river, and he bets $100. I think about it. Yeah, I'm chopping with any ace, but I just think he's stronger than he is here. And he shows an ace to me. I say, yeah, okay. At that point, I realize, okay, we're probably chopping. And he just semi-bluffed me. So at this point, I think, okay, well, now he thinks that he can bluff me. Useful information moving forward. Just a little skeptical. I just play it on the safe side, just fold. These next two hands, they're very much the tried and true method of bet your strong hands, and it pays off. I'm under the gun +2. I look down at ace, 10 of diamonds. There's a button straddle. It limps to me. I raise to 17. We get two callers, and we flop trips. Doesn't get much better than that unless we had spades, which would be impossible, of course. But it gets checked over to me. I'm monkey in the middle, and I bet for $15. knowing that if I get called, somebody has a queen, potentially another ace, or more likely a spade draw. So I do get called by the button, who I typically know is drawing. Pot's 83. I bet 45, and he basically insta-folds. Good one to take down. Again, pretty cut and dry. This is how I should be playing. This is a hand or two later, and I'm under the gun +1. Look down at ace jack off. Raise that to 15. We get 3-bet to $30, and there's one caller. Then I call, and we see a nice flop, 3 jack 6. So my first mistake here is I check over. It checks through. I should have bet the jack, right? Cut and dry. Then we get a 6 on the turn. The board pairs, not great, but also nobody bets, so not too much to be worried about. Maybe a hard draw here. I go ahead and bet out for $45, which is about half pot bet, and it gets both the players to fold. So just play it straightforward, man, sometimes. Not all the time, but the majority of the time. Most of the time. Just play straightforward. Here I'm under the gun +2. I look down at 9, 10 of spades here. We open to $12. We get 2 callers. The flop comes jack, king, ace, 2 spades. So a very, very nice flop for us. The first act leads into 2 people for 15. I call. 5 of hearts comes on the turn. It goes check, check. So I know he doesn't have an ace at this point. And the 8 of diamonds comes on the river. He leads out again for $20. And with a high likelihood of him not having an ace, I raise to $65, which gets him to fold immediately. I know that 100% of the time here, I have the worst hand. And yes, the majority of the time, you're going to have to win with the best hand. But sometimes, you're going to have to win with the worst hand. And that's what happens here. We pull off a nice little bluff. It has been eons, ages since I've played a hand. More than an hour has gone by since I've been able to do anything. I am literally flat since the last hour. I haven't made any money. I haven't gained any money. It's been brutal. It's a slog. I'm in the big blind and look down at pocket jacks. There is an initial raise under the gun to what I believe is $5, which then gets re-raised 3-bet to $20. It works its way around. We get 3 callers at $20, and I make it $100 to go. I only want to go to the flop with one other person. I'm thinking the only thing that calls me here, the only hand has an ace in it. Considering the action prior to my $100 4-bet, I'm confident that whoever calls me here has an ace. Ace queens, ace tens, ace jacks. Less likely that there's going to be ace jacks. Maybe tens, eights, nines, tens. They don't have aces. They don't have kings. They probably don't even have queens here. I get called by Ron, who I know is a sticky player, who I've become familiar with his tactics and how he's playing. We get a king high flop. You either have a king or you don't, Ron. So I look at him. I'm not letting the action get to him because I'm pretty sure he's just going to go all in to flip the pressure on me. I do the heavy lifting. I go all in. Doesn't take long for him to fold, and we take down a nice profit of $146 here. I hadn't played a hand in forever. I want to take down the pot, so that's what we do here. I am in the land of profit after being down somewhere between $350 and $400. I'm under the gun +2, and action basically limps over to me. I look down at jack 10 of spades, and I open here for $17, which we go to the flop 4 ways, and we basically flop the world here. We got a gut shot, straight flush draw, we got a flush draw, we got a straight draw, open-ended. Anything and everything we could ask for, we got it. Unless you have a king or a queen, maybe you have 2 spades, this is a scary flop for you, right? So I go ahead and let it check through, and I bink the flush on the turn. So yay, happy to bink the flush here. The under the gun is second to act. and he leads out on this board for $50. What does that tell me? We're betting into 3 people on this sort of board for $50. Basically, let's just round up to that's a pot size bet. It just indicates strength, but it also indicates protection. So my mind switches gears from, hey, let's be aggressive, to, hey, let's call this guy down. So we go heads up to the river as a jack of diamonds. Seems pretty clean to me. My opponent thinks for a second and leads out yet again for $50. So 50 into 170, about a third of the size of the pot, right? So now my thought process is, okay, he's value betting. Probably doesn't have a flush, but it's still possible. This sort of bet in the moment to me didn't feel like if I raise him here, he's going to call me. In this fellow's mind, my opponent's mind, what else could I be getting to the river with here? It'd be a straight or a flush. From my opponent's perspective, value betting, in his case, a set of 4s, or even 2 pair, it's kind of mandatory at that point, right? I call him off immediately. I think there's value to be had. However, this particular opponent, I think maybe would just fold to a raise in this circumstance. Can't complain. Like, again, we've adjusted, we've recalibrated, and we're just moving in the right direction here. This one here is just a fun hand, worth going over. Not something you see every day. There's a button straddle, and I'm second to act. I look down at pocket 4s. The pocket 4s, obviously not the best holding, but I want to open this hand early position, kind of make it look like, okay, I got ace X, ace something, strong hand. The action tracker is not accurate here, but I opened to $15, and I get 3 additional callers. Flop comes 9-5-7, so I check my option. It checks its way around to Mr. Ron, who is the stickiest player on the table. When he bets 20, I call 20, and the ace of diamonds comes out on the turn. The ace of diamonds, to me, is a good card to start bluffing on. The board is very connected. There's a straight draw potential, flush draw potential, and unbeknownst to me, a straight flush draw potential. But I figured, hey, this might be a good card to start a bluff on, and then whatever the river comes, we can reevaluate. I put out a bet here of $55. Again, repping the ace. I want it to look like I have an ace here, specifically maybe even an ace X of spades flush draw here. Mr. Ron, of course, he's going to call that. He's got a straight flush draw. We get the other player to fold. The 6 of spades comes out on the river. I think you could look at this one of 2 ways. One, this is a mistake. The other is you're giving it your best shot. What I do here is I'm repping ace X of spades, like I had mentioned previously. So I make a bet of $155, thinking that any spade draw would at least think about this. However, I never accounted for the straight flush draw. And of course he binks it.
Well, gave it my best shot. At least we had a fun trip, huh, gang?
This hand is a testament to knowing your opponents. The under the gun +1 open to $20, which is a red flag in itself. And here's why. He's not opening $20 early position without being pretty much top of range here. I call, and then the button who acts behind me calls. At this point, I shouldn't even be in the hand. So I'm playing with basically 2 of the tightest people on the table is what I'm trying to say. And it's pretty much one of my hard set rules, like don't play with the lower VPIP players unless you have the nuts. So mistake number 1, I'm not considering who my opponents are in the circumstances. The flop comes 8, 10, queen. First to act is the initial opening raiser, and he bets to 15, so he down bets. I go ahead and call, halfway expecting the person behind me to fold. They don't. They call. And the turn is the king of diamonds. This board, yes, I just made 2 pair. This board doesn't matter. This board against these opponents doesn't matter that you made 2 pair. And I think this is pretty universal. So if you're listening to this, you need to keep in mind who you are playing against. So this was my mistake. The option is on the first to act, who has been aggressive up until this very point. He checks. I check behind to see what the button is going to do. Second mistake, she bets $75. I need to insta-fold here. This person is not betting unless she has the nuts. There is no other circumstance under which this person bets unless they have the nuts. It's respectable play. There's nothing, I'm not taking it away from her. She gets paid here. Spoiler alert, she gets paid. But this is a mistake on my part to even considering to raise here. Maybe against a different opponent it makes sense. Against this opponent it does not make sense. The original aggressor folds. I raise to $200. She goes all in basically immediately. This player's only doing that with the nuts. They're only raising all in with the nuts. I should have realized that in the moment. Unfortunately, I did not. And I call. And I should have just folded. It's as simple as that. The river, of course, does not come for us, and we get stacked. Speaking of fun hands, I don't get really tilted, but I am a little bit tilted, especially after running into the nuts twice and getting stacked. It basically limps around, and I have 2-5 offsuit in the small blind. The big blind raises to $12, and we get 3 callers. I go ahead and call. We're going 5 ways to the flop where I hit bottom pair. So I know I'm good here. I'm definitely good here. There's no way I'm not good, especially when next to act, who is pretty tight, I would say. He bets out for $20. I know you have an ace at this point. Next to act calls. Next act after them calls. Next act after that calls. And I call. The odds are in my favor. I know I have the worst hand, but we're going to see a turn here, which is a banker, boys and girls. It is the 5 of spades. I hit that 2 pair like Ike Turner. And it's so sweet when I check over because I know any ace is about to bet here, which of course Ben has. And he bets $30. Next to act calls. The next act after that calls and the button calls. Here's where I strike. This is my favorite hand because I just raised to 130. Now, maybe I raise to 75. Maybe I raise to 85. Maybe I raise to 95 and get called by an ace here. But they all fold. And to be honest with you, bottom 2 pair, I think that's kind of got to be your move, right? You just got to take it down. Because if anybody has an ace, which we know 2 people do at least, and the board pairs, well, guess what? Kiss it goodbye. Got to strike when the iron's hot. This was my favorite hand of the night. I can't say much other than running into the nuts can be good in that you become tilted enough to play 2-5 off. So we'll take that. Mistakes were made. I'm down close to $1,000. Bankroll's obliterated. But I had fun going down swinging, and I'm happy with that. So thanks for watching me get sent to the shadow realm on this one. And for those of you who have approached me at Best Bet in Jacksonville, just talking about you've watched the previous video, I really appreciate you, and it means a lot.